Thank you for carving out some time today. We're going to take a little while and walk through the site. I'm going to talk about the top level functionality and get into some of the details to give you a real sense of what kind of value hopefully this can bring to your business and to your clients. Before I jump in, a little background about the product. Our founder, Jeff Boyce, while he was doing his work for his double masters in exercise physiology and sports nutrition, like a lot of us out there, was in a position to be doing meal planning with clients. And at the end of a couple of hours of doing calculations and detailed planning, just kind of pulled his hair out and said there's got to be a better way. We've all been there, right? So what you're going to see today is the results of starting with that frustration and then going out and working with professionals in a wide variety of fields to find out how we can deliver a tool to you, the working professional, to make your nutrition management process better, faster, and easier. My name's Ed Cleary. I'm the president of the company. I've been here since day one, and I've been fortunate enough to work with all kinds of professionals across a wide variety of different disciplines, everything from registered dietitians and nutritionists to personal trainers and strength and conditioning. What we're going to look at today is a tool that we think serves that entire population. Any working professional that's doing nutrition management with an individual, we believe, is going to get value out of this product. So before I jump in, some details about the product itself. We are a web-based product, which just means anywhere that you can get to the internet, you can get to your account. So there's some great advantages to that. You're not buying software, you're not loading it onto a computer, it's not PC or Mac specific, and it goes where you go. So anywhere that you can log on to the internet, you can get to your account. This works in a tablet world, desktop world, the laptop world, even mobile devices, and we'll talk about that a little bit as we get into this as well. The other great thing about that is you're never paying for upgrades or enhancements. We're constantly developing this product with the input from working professionals, and as something goes live for us, an enhancement or improvement, when it's live for us, it's live for you. So this is a dynamic product. It's always growing, always improving, and as long as you're a paid subscriber, you're going to get the benefits of any changes or updates we make. So let me go into this. We're going to go into a demo account, spend a little time today talking about a variety of things, the functionality from a broad spectrum, from highly automated, real slam dunk, get it out there and work with your clients in a matter of minutes, to really, really granular, to be able to control every single aspect and detail of the product. So let's start by logging into the account. When I log into the account, I'm taken to what's considered my home page, and we're going to talk about two different sides of this. We're going to talk about the professional interface. A little bit we're going to talk about the client interface. But from the professional side, when I come to my home page, this really shows me in aggregate everything I'm doing. It's going to show me all the clients that I'm working with. It's also going to show me my own personal databases of recipes, food supplements, meal plans, exchanges, and we'll get into that as we drop into this. But the primary function is going to be that client management. Now, we're going to talk about meal planning and nutrition management and all the different ways that we can do that. But before I do that, I want to show you the other side of our tool. This is really a client management tool as well. We know outside of any particular meal plan you may do, there's a lot of different information you work with when working with a client. If I click on this dashboard, I'm going to be taken to this area where I can really put all of this data. So we know not just from meal plans, you may be talking about body comp measurements that you're going to work with your client on. There may be performance values that they want to track over time, even blood panels or lab summaries. Now granted, most of you aren't taking blood panels, but if you have a client that just saw their doctor and they came in, the doctor says, hey, we really want you to pay attention to your cholesterol, you can actually start tracking those changes over time. And the reason you're going to want to do that is you're going to say, listen, this is what we were doing together at this point, and this is the impact that we had. So you can really start lining up the benefit of working with you. Hey, listen, this was the exercise prescription we were doing, here was the nutrition management we were doing, and here's the results that we created together. Okay? And any of this data, I'll talk about Anthos here in a second, is totally customizable. So yeah, we give you some base measurements, but at any point you want to add something to it, I can track additional anthro values, I can put in anything that I want, the date I took the measurement, and whatever value I'd like. And once I do that, you're going to see that I'm adding that data. I can also remove that. In this case, I picked the same. I picked one of the values that was already in there, and I can delete it. So all of these different fields are totally customizable, performance values as well. So you can go in here and track any data that you want. And once this data is in the system, we're going to give you the ability to easily graph it for them. So let's just do our weight, right? The one that everybody wants to pay attention to. So you have this very objective way to share information with your client. You can say, all right, Holly, this is what you weighed when we started. This is what you weigh now. So here's the impact we make. And if I click this PDF button, really clean output that I get to share with the individual. And I'll show you those outputs as we get into that process a little deeper. You'll see these tabs up here. It's really a place for me to do really detailed and granular control of this client's information. Client images, for those of you who do profile shots, you can put these in and you can actually do comparisons over time, and real simple things like client logs. These are all date driven. So if I said, hey, met with Holly I've got this data. So we're going to help you get rid of that clutter, that file cabinet, that dirty desk. Any place you can get to your account, you're going to have this information. And even attach files. If you have an intake form or there's some paperwork that you've had with this individual, scan it into the system, upload it in here, and you've got it. So it really is traveling with you anywhere you go. Okay? So back to the dashboard itself. We're going to talk a little bit about meal planning. Now, I'm going to cheat and jump ahead and show you the end game, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how you get there. So we want to be able to do very detailed prescription for this individual, and we're going to talk about the number of different ways that you can do that. But the end game is something that looks like this. This is a completed meal plan that you get to put in their hands, okay? I'll go through this fairly quickly, but you'll see what it is. And there's two different ways that we're going to do this. Discrete meals, so actual items by date and time. You're going to tell them exactly how to eat throughout each day. If there's recipes included in that plan, the recipe is going to be in the output for them as well. If there's an exercise prescription, we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's going to give that to them here as well. Then the system's going to automatically generate a shopping list for them. Hey, Holly, you go get these things. You have what you need for the plan that I just gave you. And we're also going to give them a portion guide. You guys know very well that very few people have any idea what 4 ounces of turkey is. So we're going to help them do some portion control by giving them guidelines. This is the output. There's two different types of plans that we're going to be able to do, and you have tremendous control over both of them. This was discrete items and meals that I was talking about. And then we also have exchange meal planning. Again, this is the output, and I'm going to show you how we get there. In exchange meal planning, instead of telling them specific items by day and time, we're going to give them macronutrient profiles. Here's the carbs, proteins, fats, and fluids I want you to have for this meal. And then we're going to include exchange lists for them. So in this case, here's all the different carbohydrates you can pick from that are all 1-point values. Proteins, fats, etc. The fantastic feature about this is instead of telling them exactly what to eat, you're just going to tell them how to eat and give them all kinds of choices. From a compliance side, it's fantastic. For those people who say, hey, listen, I don't like tuna fish, what should I do? You're going to say, great, I'm not telling you to eat tuna. I'm just telling you, here's your profile. Here's the list of items that you can pick from. All right? So those are the meal plans when they're done. Let's get into it and show you how to do it. I'm actually going to start from scratch and show you how to enter a client into your system. So if I go to my home page, here's the list of clients that I have. If I want to add a client, and I'll show you how quick and easy this can be done. Mike Smith, I can put in this details, but you can see very little of it is required, and this is just to help us distinguish one client from another. I can even upload a profile photo of them. Once the picture's in the system, I'm going to use my mouse, and you can see my preview to the right. Exactly what I want. Click that thumbnail and save. Now the first time I save this information, I'm going to see this window that asks for some specifics. We need this information because this is what's going to help us calculate the needs of this individual. There's very little information we require to do that baseline calculation, and this is where we start. So I'm going to say he's a male, he's 6'1", 185. When I update this, you're going to see this screen now populated for me. It actually calculated a resting metabolic rate. We're going to do the math for you. Doesn't mean you can't override these things. You definitely can at any point. If I actually go into the client information, characteristics, everything's date driven because the system wants to know when you were making these changes. If I pick a date, I can override this value to anything I want. So if you have an alternate way of calculating resting metabolic rate, we'll let you override the system. But we're going to do some baseline calculations for you. Okay, so back to his dashboard. Now that I have this information in here, I can actually go ahead and create a program. So once I do that, let's talk about a number of different ways that we can do this, okay? I'm going to start at one end of the spectrum, which is highly automated. So if I use this automated feature, I'm going to go with individual meals to begin with. You'll see that an activity level for the day is required. If you roll over these little help balloons, we're going to guide you as to what these mean. These all impact the calculated calories that that individual is going to go through for the day. So if I pick this, and in this case I'm going to say weight loss, there's a tremendous amount of calculations that need to occur to come up with the recommendations for that individual. Our system is going to do that for you. When I click Save Program, we're going to say, okay, listen, based on what you told us about this individual, they should be at 2381 calories with this kind of macronutrient profile. With that profile, we have 70 plans in our database that fall within that range. We have currently just over 500 7-day meal plans in our system. So our system has gone into that database and found the plans that line up with these recommended calculations. You can see by label, I can filter down even further. So if I want vegan, protein focused, low glycemic, here's all the different ones that exist. I'm going to go to protein focused. There's slightly different ranges for us to pick from. If I want to look at the details of any one of these, I click the preview button. I'm going to see all the details of this plan. So I can look through this and say, yeah, that's the one I want. If not, I can go look at another one. That's the one I want. I want to hit select. And I'm done. I now have a full 7-day plan. If that's good as is, I can go to the program overview. I can email it to the client, or I can export it to a PDF. And those are the printouts that we looked at. So now let's start talking about how you can take some control over this system. So this was the far end of the spectrum, totally automated, ready to go. In minutes, I had a meal plan into this client's hand. Let's say you say, yeah, this is close, but I want to make some edits to this. If I edit this one, I can do anything that I want in here. So 6 large eggs. Let's say, you know, I'm going to reduce this a little bit, add this back in. Instead of 7 o'clock, I want him at 6:30 because he goes for a run in the morning. And I can add this meal back. I can add recipes, I can add items, I can make any changes that I want to that system, and now I'm exacting control over this and making any of the detailed edits that I'd like to any of these plans. So let's go back to the program type and start working our way up the ladder. So from an automated, that was the first one we did was the individual meals. If I go to exchange driven now and save the program, you're going to see now that I'm taken into this exchange profile. Again, I can edit this however I want. I can change points values if I want. I can change the meal time that I want, and I can add these back into the system. Once I have a profile that I like, if I go to these exchange lists, we're always going to give you to the defaults. Carb, protein, fat, free foods, and proteins. Free foods are ones that have no point value. These are going to be dressings, condiments, things that people can add in that are generally part of meals but aren't going to impact that micronutrient profile. But you can see I've got all kinds of others that I may look at. I can go to gluten-free if I like, and there may be additional ones that I want to include. And when I'm done, I just hit continue. So you have full control over which exchange list they're going to get. You can even create your own exchange list, and I'll show you that when we get into your own database management. Once you've made the changes that you like, again from the program overview, email or export, and you're done with that client. Okay? So let's back up. Let's look at the additional program types. Here's automated. Very straightforward. Just a few factors that you're going to deal with. If I get into exchange driven, I'm still going to be using our exchange list, but you'll see that I have a lot more control over it. I can put in a start date. This is great when someone says, hey, I want to be in shape for my wedding, or I've got a 5K coming up in a month, whatever. You can say, great, you're going to need to start on the 15th and do this for X number of days going forward. This is optional, but it's a nice thing when there are specific events you have to plan around. Now you're going to see activity logs and food logs. If I want to get information from this individual, this is a fantastic way to get specific details about what they're doing on a daily basis. This information will actually impact the recommended calculations. The reason we don't make this a requirement is any of you know that have done planning and working with individual clients is they don't like to log. People are either incomplete, don't finish them, don't tell the truth, or just flat out throw up their hands and don't want to touch them. If you have clients that are engaged and you know they're going to log for you, you can give that opportunity, you can give that option here. Let's say I'm going to do a 3-day log or recall for each one of these. There's 2 different ways to do this. You can say, listen, I just want to include this, handwrite it, bring it in, and I'm going to enter it. So that's fantastic. The other thing that you can do is you can say, I'm going to send this to the client for remote completion. And when I save this program, you're now going to see I have an activity log and a food log tab. I'm going to start collecting more data. What they're going to see is this email that says, hey, listen, I'm doing a nutrition plan for you. Will you go in and give me your activity logs and your food logs? When they follow these links, they don't need a username, they don't need a password. They're going to be taken directly into the system, directly into the plan that you're creating for them. We basically force them to watch this tutorial video because they're really going to need to be shown how to do this. They could opt out of this, but we really do this as a default because we want them to take a look at it. But you're going to see there are no tabs. They can't get to their dashboard. They can't pick any meal plans. They're only granted access to this specific section. So they can give you their activity logs. They can give you your food logs. I'm even going to show you a mobile version here in a second. So they access their email. They're going to be able to log directly for you. This is a big if. And we say this over and over again. We're really going to strongly discourage you from opening this up to your clients until you know you have a very highly engaged client. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to be stuck here waiting for them to provide information and you're not going to be able to complete your plan. Okay? But for those times when you really want detailed information about what people are doing, you can open this up, have them log, and you're really going to get a good sense of what they're doing. So let's go back to these program types. Exchange driven, still using exchange lists, but we have all of these options. Meal plan driven, all of these options as well, but now we're back to doing those discrete individual meal items. Client log driven, and I'm going to show you a great example. You can see that food logs are required. What this means, client log driven means they're going to provide you a food log, and all you're going to do is edit what they report to you. From a compliance standpoint, this is fantastic. But this is an engaged client. This is someone who's willing to tell you what they actually do. What these look like, and let me go back to an example. So this is a client log driven plan. You can see client plan, client driven. This person provided me an activity log. They provided me a detailed food log. When I go to the profile overview, and again as a professional, this is where you can start exacting some influence over what's happening. You're going to see an energy balance profile. Here's their resting metabolic rate. Here's the reported food intake over 7 days. And here is their energy expenditure or their activity log over 7 days. This is a great thing to share with your client. Again, PDF output, you're going to put it right in their hands. This is a great thing to share with them. A lot of times you can say, you know, if one of these is substantially out of balance, hey, listen, you're not taking in enough food, you're working out like crazy, and you're not bringing enough calories, or the other way around, is you're sedentary and you don't have a high enough activity level for the amount of calories that you're taking in. This is just a basic energy balance, and it shows them, hey, listen, these things need to line up for you to hit a steady state, and you're going to have to impact one or the other if you actually if you want to make an impact on your body. Lose weight, gain lean muscle mass, whatever it is. This is a great visual cue to share with them. Now, as we start talking about your ability to customize these plans, we've done all the recommendations for you right here. Here's the calorie, here's the macronutrient balance we want to do. You may say that's fine, but with what I know about this person, I want them at 2750 calories and I want them protein focused. When you save and continue, you're going to see down here, here's the recommendations. These are the numbers you're shooting for because this is what you put in, 2750, okay? What the system's done in a client log driven plan is it's just copied over exactly what they told you they had, okay? So you can say, great, you're only taking in 2300 calories, I need you at 2750, so I'm going to go edit your breakfast. You said you had 2 eggs. Let's increase that to 3 and get your protein and calories back up and add that meal back in. So again, now you're making these changes to what they have already done. This is a great tool from a compliance standpoint. You're not going to ask them to eat significantly different. You're just going to make adjustments. These are great for 2 populations in general, either people that are already eating very clean and have plateaued, or people that are at the other end of the spectrum that really don't know how to make lifestyle changes and are having burgers and Cokes for lunch. You're not going to be able to get them to have a tuna fish sandwich. You might be able to get in there and say, good, burger's fine, let's skip the fries, no Coke, and how about a little water? So this is a great way to get people into the nutrition management process and have them see the value. The last one I won't spend too much time on is professional driven. This is soup to nuts. You're controlling absolutely everything. You're going to build your own meal plans. You're going to adjust every single recommendation in the system. You have complete control over the entire system. So this is really the broad spectrum. Automated, very simple, very straightforward, professional, controlling absolutely every single detail of what's going on. Okay? So now let me back up and talk a little bit about your own database. If I go into the Manage Recipes tab, here's my database of recipes that I have in my system. I'll jump back into a meal plan and show you how you look these up. But if you have recipes that you like to use over and over again, you're going to want to build them and put them in here. There's 2 great features about building recipes. You can go in here, put in a name, build your recipe from scratch, and add it to your database. The other great thing about this is it is a shared resource in the professional community. So if I look for a community recipe search, and let's say I put in chicken, I'm going to be able to look up all the other different recipes that other professionals have put into the system. For recipes, meal plans, foods, any of those things, anytime you see it flagged red, this means it was a community added item. So it has not been validated by our Registered Dietitians team, and it's basically a use at your own risk. Now, we go through the database, validate the items that are added by the community, remove this flag, and add it back to the database. So anything that you see in gray says that we have validated what someone's put in there, we validated the math, and it falls in line with the generally accepted scientific principles of nutrition management. When you pick a red one, we're just going to give you a cue that we haven't validated it. Make sure you look at the numbers and you're comfortable with it. But you can see all these other recipes that somebody's put in. I might say, you know, chicken sauté, that looks great. Bring it over. If I like it as is, I mark as complete and add it to my database. If I want to start making edits, I do that here. I can say, I'm going to do 2 teaspoons and add that back in, okay? And then add it to my recipe. So I can take them as is, I can make small edits to it, or I can build my recipe from scratch. But over time, you're going to have your own data to use over and over again. That exists for everything. Foods and supplements, we have a database of close to 60,000 foods, but supplements in particular are things that we just cannot stay on top of. So if there's a specific commercial item that you can't find, or a specific supplement or food that you like that you want to add, same thing. You've got a community lookup for foods that you may want to find and just pull over directly into your database, or you may go over here and put in anything you want. You build the profile, you can even manage micronutrients and add it to your database. With any of these items, you'll see this flag, add this food item to the community database. We encourage you to leave that flagged. Other professionals are constantly adding. We want you to share your information with them as well. But if you have something you consider as proprietary, if you remove this flag, no one else will see it. It'll exist in your database only, okay? I'm going to skip meal planning just for a second and come back to it. Exchange lists. If there's specific exchanges that you want to build, they're going to fall into one of these 6 categories, but there's all subcategories. You may put in holistic items, gluten-free. You may come up with a paleo plan that you like, whatever. Whatever your general focus is, you can create your own exchange list add them. Again, there's a community feature, and it separates them into your database. I'm going to show you how to do all these lookups back into a plan. The reason I wanted to leave meal plans for last is this is a fantastic feature. So traditionally, we've all gone out there and built an entire 7-day meal plan on our own. Well, that's great. If you want to do that, you're going to go in here, give it a name, give it labels, and you're going to add meals, right? Once you do that work, you only have to do it once. It's going to sit in your database for good. The other thing that we may do is we may go over here and say, look, and I want to see what kind of balanced profiles are out there. I like this one. I'm going to accept it as is and pull it in, or I want to save and edit. So now, when we talked about making small changes, you may find a protein-focused plan that you really like, but you're not a fan of eggs, or you want to make it dairy-free, or whatever. Use these base plans, manipulate the calories, manipulate the items however you want, and then add them into your database. So anytime you're doing a significant amount of work to a plan, you're going to want to save it in here. You can do it at any time from this section, Manage Meal Plans. I'm also going to show you how to do it from inside a client, because remember I showed you you could pick a plan, edit those plans, and produce that plan for that client. But if you make edits to a plan that fall in line with something that you really like, you're going to want to save that plan to your database so you can use it over and over again. I'm going to show you where to do that. So let's go back to our clients and let's look at some examples. I'm going to jump into this meal plan. Oh, this is an exchange, pardon me. Here we go. So I have this plan. Let's say I make edits days 1 through 7. If you see at the bottom of day 1, there's nothing there. The system doesn't want you to be saving a plan until it's a completed 7-day plan, and that's just for uniformity. We don't want 1, 2, 3, 6, 4-day plans in the system. We really want full 7-day plans in the system. So after you've made these edits, when you get to your final day, you have everything that you want. You can say, I'm going to add this plan to my database. I'm going to give it a new name. Protein focused. And I'm going to save and continue. So we can assume that I made some significant changes to this plan that I really like. I just now saved it to my database. Okay. The other thing that I want to show you is all of your specific database items. So instead of searching a food, if I want to search a recipe, any of these searches, you're going to see View My Database Only. If I click that, it's going to take me to just the items that I have in my database. I always have the option to view entire database and back into it to show everybody's. That's for recipes. If I want a different meal plan, I can do the same thing. Here's my lookup window, but I only want to see my meal plans, or I can view the entire database. So any lookup you have the ability to filter down to just your information. That's a great thing to do over time. You're going to find that there's items that you use more frequently than others. The system's going to know what you've saved into your own database and help you filter to those directly instead of searching through the aggregate of all the information that's in there. Okay? So back to the home section. There's a couple other things I want to touch on. We want to help you market yourself to potential clients and current clients to let them know that you have the ability to do nutrition planning at a very efficient and professional level for them. If you see this My Profile tab, this becomes a page that is your professional profile. It has information about you. It has photos, videos that you want to upload. It has links to your social media. It actually shows posts and articles and forums that you may like that you want to share, business information as you like. And then there's actually a client-facing video right here. This is a great overview for them about why they would actually want to do nutrition management with you. So they look at this, they're engaged, they click this, it says Get Professional Meal Planning. You're actually going to get an email from our system that says, hey John, Ed just said that he was interested in meal planning, go ahead and get in touch with him. This page is entirely customizable. If I go to Edit Profile, this is where I'm going to be able to populate all that information. Even the video itself, default profile video is the one that we provide for you, but if you have another video that you uploaded and you want to use this as your profile, select it. So there may be a professional promotional video that you have that you use. You can put that on the default page as well instead of our overview. And then up here, custom URL. I've put in Butler Fit for John Butler, our professional. If I share this public URL, we're going to give you this URL. You copy and paste that, email it out to everybody you want, and it's going to take them directly to this profile page. So it's going to give them all the information. You can do whatever you like to promote that you're now providing this service, and we're going to give you this communication interface. Now, I know many of you out there have your own business name. You want to promote yourself and not Evolution Nutrition and our product. Great. If I go into account settings here, you're going to see a section in our design tab. This is our site builder. If I want to change the logo, I can upload that logo. If I want to change the tagline, you can see that I'm changing the tagline. I can put in specific hex or RGB colors if you know them. If not, you can pick any other color that you want. And you can see as I'm making these selections, I'm going to get a preview over here about what my site looks like. So once you save these changes, the entire site's going to change. This interface is going to change, the client interface is going to change, and the outputs themselves are going to change. This is just an example. So we put in Delicious Knowledge, the logo, and the colors, and now the outputs that you're sharing are branded as your particular product. So back in this page, the other things we want you to do is we want you to have success with this product. We know that once you get in here, the best way to do it is to use it at a very automated level, move through the system really quickly, see how engaged your clients are, and start playing with a greater level of detail. If you have questions about the product itself, our support section is fairly robust. You're going to see basic webinars and how-tos. You're going to see a comprehensive FAQ section. Go find answers to all your questions in here. If you still need help, this contact tab exists throughout the site at any point. Put in your information, your question, submit it. It's going to go to the right department, and we'll answer your question within 24 business hours. That's the basic overview. Thanks so much for carving out a few minutes for us today. We hope you find great value in this product. We really want you to succeed and partner with you as you grow your nutrition management with your clients. Please contact us with any questions. Thanks again and have a great day.